Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're exploring a deeply fascinating ancient text that details one of the most dramatic shifts of power in history. We're talking about the story of the voice of the Lord and the fall of Eli, drawing straight from the historical account of the child Samuel. At its core, this is a story about a failing old guard, an establishment that has completely lost its way, and the sudden, highly disruptive emergence of a newly chosen prophetic voice. It is an absolute masterclass in narrative tension and the passing of the torch.
Section 1. The Era of Silence, a Time Without Visions. To really grasp the sheer weight of this story, we have to set the scene. Imagine the ancient temple. You have the aging priest Eli and the young child Samuel ministering under him. But things are incredibly stagnant spiritually. The account explicitly tells us, "And the word of the Lord was precious in those days." There was no open vision. Think about that. Total radio silence. The divine had been utterly quiet. No prophet speaking out, no grand revelations, no open visions for the people to follow. The connection between the divine and the leadership seemed literally severed.
Now we really need to look at that word precious. Today, we usually use it to mean something beloved, right? Like a piece of jewelry or a family heirloom. But in this ancient context, it meant extremely rare, scarce, or highly unusual. Hearing a direct message from God just wasn't a thing that happened anymore. It was a lost occurrence. The establishment was running entirely on memory and old rituals, completely void of any fresh guidance.
And you can see how the physical and spiritual state of the leadership were totally intertwined here. On one side, you have Eli. He's lying down in his place, his eyes waxing dim to the point where he's practically blind. It's the literal picture of a fading establishment. But on the flip side, the text notes that the lamp of God had not yet gone out in the temple. So while human leadership is plunging into darkness, there's still this single flickering glimmer of divine light left burning, just waiting for someone to notice.
Section 2. A Voice in the Night, the Mystery in the Temple.
Picture the scene. The temple is dead quiet. Eli and Samuel are both asleep. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Samuel is jolted awake by a voice calling his name. Naturally, he assumes it's his mentor, so he runs to Eli and says, "Here am I, for thou callest me." Eli basically says, "I didn't call you, go back to sleep." And this happens a second time. Samuel gets up, goes to Eli, gets the exact same response. But by the third time the voice calls, Eli finally pieces the puzzle together. See, up to this point, Samuel didn't actually know the Lord yet. But Eli realizes, oh wow, the divine is calling the child.
Realizing exactly what is happening, Eli gives the young boy the precise instruction he needs to answer a direct divine summons. He tells him, "Go, lie down, and it shall be, if he call thee, that thou shalt say, 'Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth.'" It's actually a moment of profound humility if you think about it. The reigning high priest has to teach his subordinate how to bypass him entirely and speak directly to the divine.
And then comes the pivotal fourth call. The suspense is at an all-time high. The Lord came, stood, and called, as at the other times, "Samuel, Samuel." Armed with Eli's instruction, the young boy finally answers, "Speak, for thy servant heareth." And boom, the connection is made. That long, heavy era of silence, it is officially broken.
Section 3. The Heavy Judgment, the Fall of Eli's House.
Now you might expect the first message after decades of silence to be something joyous or comforting, right? Not at all. Instead, a dark, incredibly heavy revelation is suddenly thrust onto the shoulders of a mere child. The Lord explains exactly why judgment is about to crash down on the current leadership. Contrast Samuel, who is humble, pure, and obedient, with Eli's sons. These guys were next in line for power, and the text says they had made themselves vile. But the real kicker, the core indictment against Eli himself, is that he knew about it and he restrained them not. The top leadership had deliberately turned a blind eye to deep, systemic corruption.
The severity of this prophecy is absolutely staggering. The Lord tells Samuel he is going to do a thing in Israel at which both the ears of everyone that heareth it shall tingle. That's such a vivid phrase. It means an event so shocking to the status quo, so completely earth-shattering, that it will literally cause a visceral, physical reaction in the public when the news breaks. We're talking about the total, catastrophic collapse of the ruling house.
And the Lord breaks down the specific reasons for this judgment, making it totally inescapable. First, there's willful ignorance. Eli knew of the iniquity. Second, a complete failure to act. Eli failed to restrain his sons. And because of this massive dereliction of duty, the Lord swears a terrifying oath. He declares that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering forever. That's huge. It means no amount of temple rituals, no amount of religious performance can fix this level of corruption. It's a permanent end.
Section 4. Relaying the vision the morning after.
So the vision ends, and Samuel just lies in his bed until morning. You can practically feel the dramatic irony and the immense tension here. He gets up, he opens the doors of the house of the Lord, trying to act like it's just a normal day. But the text explicitly notes that Samuel feared to show Eli the vision. And honestly, who can blame him? He is deeply burdened with a devastating secret. How on earth does a little kid walk up to the high priest and say, "Hey, God said your entire family line is doomed"? But Eli knows something happened last night. He nervously confronts Samuel with a very heavy demand. "What is the thing that the Lord hath said unto thee? I pray thee, hide it not from me." Eli actually goes so far as to practically curse Samuel, saying, "God do so to you and more also if you hide anything from me." He absolutely corners the young boy into speaking the unvarnished truth.
And Samuel stepping right up to his new role is incredibly brave. He told him every whit, hiding nothing from him, gave him the whole shebang. And Eli's response? He simply says, "It is the Lord. Let him do what seemeth him good." It's this shockingly resigned, passive acceptance of his own doom. There's no argument, no desperate attempt to repent or change course. Eli just bows his head and accepts that the era of his household is entirely over and that the judgment is righteous.
Section 5. The Rise of Samuel, a new prophet in Israel.
So, while the old establishment passively waits for its bitter end, the spiritual torch is definitively passed. As Samuel matured, his authority became absolute. The text says, "He grew and the Lord was with him," and, I love this phrase, "he let none of his words fall to the ground." Meaning, everything Samuel spoke actually came to pass. His credibility was flawless. Because of this rock-solid track record, he was recognized as a prophet across the entire nation, from Dan way up in the north to Beersheba in the south. And most importantly, the Lord revealed himself again in Shiloh. The open visions had finally returned because there was, at last, someone worthy of receiving them. Which leaves us with a truly critical question to ponder. When the establishment fades, who is listening for the next call? This incredible story of Samuel and Eli perfectly illustrates that when structures become corrupt or blind, the truth doesn't just disappear. It bypasses the powerful and speaks directly to the humble and the attentive. What you should really take away from this explainer is the absolute importance of being willing to say, "Speak, for thy servant heareth," even when the entire world around you has gone completely silent. Thanks for diving into this text with me today, and whatever you do, keep listening.